Welcome to the third video in this series of how to future-proof yourself. This third video is going to be about networking. So last week was about raising your profile, and the first one the week before that was about reflection. And please stay tuned to the next video next week, which will be on self-development. So there's 4 videos that we're doing on the key aspects of how to future-proof yourself. Obviously there could be lots of videos on after that, so we're not going to run out of content. There's loads more to cover. So what I'd like to do is really introduce the whole concept of networking. Now, for a lot of people, we mention the word, you really do need to network more, and they think, oh, do I really? Do I have to? Have visions of having to walk into a room of people that they don't really know, with their business card, shaking hands and saying, hello, my name's David, I'm a very important businessman. What do you do? Oh, well, I sell training courses and coaching sessions and conferences and things. And people think, oh my goodness, do I really have to do that? Well, that isn't really my definition of networking. My definition of networking is really building up a really good contact list of people that you can rely on and they can rely on you, and I think that's really quite important. It's got to be two-way. I had a good friend of mine who unfortunately lost their job and they're having a bit of a tough time of it, and they said, well, perhaps I need to get out there networking. And I said, oh, unfortunately, you know, you've missed the boat. You need to constantly be networking. It's just going to come across as you're a bit desperate and, oh, I haven't heard from you for a long time. Now you want some help. You come knocking on my door. That isn't what networking is about either. So I want to introduce 3 different concepts of networking. The first one is networking internally within your business. So if you work for a business, be it a big, large organisation, big multinational or small business, how do you network effectively within your business? Number 2 is going to be externally networking. Externally networking with people outside of your business. And the third one may be something you haven't really heard of much before, and that is what we call a mastermind group. And I will explain more a bit later on, naturally. So let's first of all talk about internal networking. Now, if you work for a large organisation, it is absolutely vital that you understand how it works. Now, unfortunately, in today's environment, we're being governed more and more by email. Head down into our computers all day long, responding to emails, making things happen, and we're very task orientated. But do we really understand how the whole business works? Do we understand the impact we have on other areas and other departments and other functions of the business? And especially if it's a global business, there's loads of opportunities out there. Are you really grasping them in understanding how it works, how people see things? There you can network with your IT. How do they see technology influencing the business in the future? As we've talked about in other videos, this is really important and how it's going to affect your job. How do marketing and sales see the relationship with your clients in the future? How's that going to change? There's great opportunities to learn and understand how that works. Plus, production and other areas of your business, understanding the financials. And as I said, if you're a global organisation, how does it work in other countries? It's interesting stuff. You can build up good contacts, you can start to build your network of people, and then as you develop your career, you've built up good relationships, and it becomes a part of a partnership, and it's ongoing. You help them, they can help you, and it is an ongoing relationship. Obviously, part of that is talking with your clients, and you could class that and your customers as internal networking. But that's really where it perhaps sort of extends into my next subject of the importance of networking outside of your business. Outside of your business, as I said, there may be lots of clients that you can spend time with, not just the contacts there, but can you get introduced to other people in that business? Learn how that business operates and works. There again, it's interesting stuff. I do this a lot, and it's a great privilege to work with lots of different organisations. And I learn their history, how they've developed, how they've become successful, the great ideas, some of the entrepreneurs, some of the aspects and the challenges they've overcome. And this is all free learning, and it's great. And it's also networking. I'm not trying to sell them anything, I'm just trying to understand how they do things. And once they get to know me a little bit more better, they'll perhaps then think, actually, you can help us. So I'm subtly enabling them to buy from me for the future. Plus also, who knows when you may need or you can help each other in the future. Maybe in a few years' time, or 5, 10 years, and for the rest of your career. These are people, if you keep in contact, they're a great source of information. They're a great source of help, perhaps a bit of mentoring and advice, and perhaps get you to look at things from a different perspective. And that can be really helpful. And as I said, I'm not out there constantly trying to sell when I'm networking. I'm trying to be a sponge, ask great questions, absorb, think about people that I can help, and perhaps in the future, if they can help me, and perhaps how I can call in some of those favours on occasions. That's fine. But also when I get stuck, and I'm often sitting there thinking, God, how do I solve this problem? Well, hey, just think about your network. And what I do in my notebook that I've talked about on other videos is that I have certain key people that I do need to keep in contact with on a very regular basis. Why? Because they make me think differently. Why? Because they see the world differently. Why? Because they can come up with solutions that I've never even thought of. And that's a great way of helping. And as you build these relationships, it's amazing how many times people then say, oh, I wonder if you could help us out with this, David. And then that can lead to other work and other opportunities for me. So please really think about investing your time in terms of your internal network and your external network. Start to build up some lists of people and keep in contact. Yes, it does involve effort and it does involve time, but you get a return on it. And as I said, don't start doing networking when you're desperate. People will see you as desperate and then think, oh gosh, the only time you want me or to help you out is when you've got a problem. Haven't heard from you for ages. So yeah, start to build those relationships. I think is perhaps a much better way of describing the word networking, because as I said, most of us have this connotation of having to walk into a room and talk to people that we've really got no interest in talking to, but we've got to go networking. So that's internal and external. So the third point that I wanted to talk to you about was, as I said, it may be something you haven't heard of too much of, and that's what we call setting up a mastermind group. This is perhaps looking through and spending some time thinking of 6, 7 people that you really do value and you do really sort of respect, and they may work in different areas, but perhaps you could all help each other out. And if you are going to set up a networking group, think about, would they all gel? How would the dynamics of the group work? And then you can then start approaching people and say, look, would you like to meet on a regular basis as a small group? We can discuss all sorts of things. You can be very honest with each other, give each other honest feedback. You may have to have the opportunity to say, sorry, that's really not going to work. That is really not a good use of your time. I really wouldn't invest in that. Or, hey, that's a cracking idea. How about using this and generating ideas? So it just enables you to work with a group of people from different backgrounds, but you've all got to commit to it, and you've got to commit to it, especially if you're going to set one up yourself. Please don't be the one that after a couple of months says, can't make it that Tuesday, because you may have to make it worthwhile, meet up for say 2 or 3 hours. You may do it over a lunch, go there with specific ideas and things that you want help on and people can help you out with. But yeah, you've got to make sure that if you're going to do it monthly, good luck, that's perhaps a little bit too often. Even every other month may be a bit of a challenge, but it may be you just meet once a quarter. Sit down, as I said, perhaps a dinner, perhaps a lunch, perhaps an afternoon if that's possible, and just create some thinking time. I know senior directors are very good at this, and working with other directors of other businesses in different markets as well, and different areas that they can sort of help each other out with. So it really is a good idea, but if you're going to do it, please commit to it. As I said, I'm starting to set one up myself, and I'm having a few informal conversations, but I've got to really make sure that I can commit to it, because I do find going to networking events on a regular basis is a bit of a challenge for me, unless they're in the evening, purely and simply because I'm here, there and everywhere all the time, doing different speeches, talks, training sessions and coaching sessions. And I've got to make sure that I can commit to them, and you do as well. So there's a short video there on networking and the importance of it. More you put in, more you get out. Not straight away, but in the future. I really wish I could have invested in this when I was a lot younger, in my 20s. My life would have been so much easier, of people that I can rely on, pick up the phone to, send an email to. Obviously LinkedIn makes it easier, but I think, a really good close network, you're not relying on LinkedIn, you're really sort of keeping in contact with people on a regular basis and making the effort. And please don't think, oh, why is it me who's always doing the networking? Why is it me who's doing all the contacting and, arranging to meet up? Why don't people contact me? Well, it's because you're good at it. People respect you for doing it and will always thank you. Oh, thanks for keeping in contact. I really appreciate that. Don't think you're being a pain in doing it. People do appreciate it. If they really don't want to spend some time with you, they'll tell you. So 3 concepts of networking. Internally within your business, understand how your business works. I've been having a lot of conversations with people who work in some large manufacturing companies. I think they could be going through a lot of change in the near future. They need to perhaps think about where they can adapt and diversify internally in their business. But if they've got a good network in their business, they're going to find it a lot easier. So that's internally networking within your business. Externally, well, there's a whole host of people that you must know. Great wisdom, clever people, great ideas. Go and bounce some ideas off them and let them bounce ideas off you, and network well and build that really good relationship. And the final one, quite an intimate way of networking, is setting up a mastermind group. But if you're going to do it, please make sure you commit to it and you're a leader in it. You're not just sponging off other people, you're providing other people with great value. People appreciate you for it, and it's a great way also of raising your profile. So that's today's or this week's video on the 4 concepts of how to future-proof yourself. So if you missed last week, that was raising your profile. Go and have a look. The week before was about the art of reflection, which is naturally very important. And next week is going to be about self-development. So please do tune in and find and watch that video along with all the other videos that we've got. If you have the opportunity to subscribe and like to these, I'll appreciate that, and that's you perhaps helping me out with my network. So thank you very much for that if you're able to do that. Anyway, look forward to talking to you next week. Have a good week and enjoy. Thanks for your time.